Today I am sharing 4 watercolor brushes that are not your typical brushes, but every one of them has earned a spot in my studio. Now they are specialty brushes, but I think you'll be very surprised at just how useful and versatile they really are. The first brush that I want to show you is the Fuumuui extended needlepoint brush. Now this is a fantastic detail brush. As you can see, it's very unique in that it has this huge belly with extra long center hairs. Now the belly is made from sable hair, which is really great for holding lots of pigment and moisture, and the longer hair centers are synthetic. So this allows the sable hairs to soak up all that pigment and feed it to the synthetic needlepoint, so that you can glide smoothly and continuously for a really long time. This thing will just keep going and going and going. As long as you make sure that you really saturate that belly with plenty of pigment and water. I find it particularly helpful when adding details to flowers because I don't have to constantly re-dip my paintbrush. I've even used it to paint flowers. It's not my typical brush for florals, but sometimes I use it because it gives them a very unique personality. Now I have another video that's dedicated just to the needlepoint brush. If you want to check that out, I'll put a link at the end of the video and down below as well. It goes into much more depth about this brush. Now that one was my first one and it's by a different manufacturer. They're both really good brushes. They are basically the same brush. So if you want to know more about this brush, just go check that one out too. My next brush is also a Fuumuui brush. This one is a texture brush. And this one's unique because it's hollow in the center. So if I spread it apart, maybe you can see how the handle just goes right up into the bristles there, keeping it hollow here in the center. Now these feel a little bit kind of wiry. They're just stiff and textured, more so than other brushes. And they're great for painting grass like this, or adding speckles or splatters, painting trees, painting the center of flowers. The list just goes on and on. Anywhere you want texture is a good place to use this brush. I've used it much more than I thought I would. Okay, my next brush. If you have watched any of my recent videos, you have no doubt seen me use this brush. They're just numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are long liner brushes. And guess what? They're also made by Fuumuui. I love these for twigs and tree branches because they allow you to get some really organic strokes. And if you paint abstract art, these are fantastic for very natural, non-perfect strokes. I also like, believe it or not, painting leaves with this brush. Now, there's a little trick to it. As you can see here, I can get really thick, even coverage with these strokes. But the trick is, it needs to be hot pressed paper in order for it to turn out this perfectly. Now, I'm not a fan of hot pressed paper. I really love cold pressed paper with a little bit of texture. You can use cold pressed paper, but it won't turn out as smooth as this. If you use cold pressed paper, it'll have more of a dry brush effect, like this. The more texture there is in your paper, the more likely you'll get a dry brush effect. I know this is starting to sound like a Fuumuui commercial. So let me just say, I purchased all of these brushes with my own money months ago. I have been using these and I'm really happy with my purchase. So they were not gifted to me. But I was able to get you a discount code in case you would like to try them too. Now, I will earn a small commission if you use my link or my code, but that just goes to help me try to cover some of my expenses in making this content for you. So all that information is in the description below. Okay, my last brush is a Zen brush by Royal and Langnickel. This is a scrubber brush. It's used to remove mistakes or pigment where you don't really want pigment. So the bristles are pretty soft, but because they're so short, they're fairly sturdy. It works especially well on white paper like this. And it has to be a non-staining pigment. If it's a staining pigment, a lot of times you can make it less noticeable, but it's never going to completely come off. This particular one is not a staining pigment, so it just lifts right off. Now be careful when you're scrubbing though, because you don't want to damage your paper. So just go slowly with a light touch and a barely damp brush, and it should lift right up. Isn't that amazing? You can also do this on layers. So let's say that this had gone over into my background wash. I probably could lift it off. You just have to be very, very careful not to disturb the lower layer. The other very important tip about this is it has to be completely dry before you attempt to remove it. If you try to clean it while the paint is still wet, it's going to spread and make a bigger mess. Of course, if it's still wet, you can always just dab it up with a paper towel, and then whatever's left over, let it dry and come back with the brush and try to clean it more. And this brush can also be used to make small strokes like these. I've used it like this to make small flowers or something like a marigold where the petals are smaller. Well, I hope you found at least one new brush today that can add a little fun to your painting. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me today, and I hope to see you next time. I purchased all of these brushes with my own money months ago. Almost bit my tongue. Okay.